Okay, here we go, guys. The bell work today looks like this. Let me make sure that all of yours match mine on the board. If you would, check yours with mine. Make sure you have a check as well. I don't have the check up there. I'm requiring you to do that on your own. When you are done with your bell work, please put it off to the side. Make sure your homework is out. We're going to grade it.
He did. He did.
No, I did it. No.
You're in science. Yeah, you're in science. You can just feel my team.
We're doing in science.
Team.
Oh, sure.
Oh God.
Emma told
Where?
Oh.
Oh, just half more on negative 4. It's because of that, and then you double the
All right, you guys ready? All right. Here we go. Homework.
Which side?
Distributive side. The other side. C is equal to -1. Number 3, D is equal to 0.
Yes.
And number 4, X is 1.
Yes.
On the other side, combined like term side. Can someone remind us, what is the most complicated a side can be before you start the process? What I'm asking you to share with the class or remind us is how many variable terms and how many constants can you have on a side? That's what I mean by what's the most complicated a side can be. Mr. Gates. One of each. That's the most you can have, and then you can go start getting rid of terms. But you cannot start the equation process until that happens. My teachers, when I was in class, used to tell me you have to simplify both sides of the equation before you go on. It's the same thing. Okay? Aren't you really combining like terms?
Yes.
Simplifying. Is that simplifying? Sure it is. All right, so number 3, A is 3. Number 4, X is 12. And then number 7, K is 4. I just came around to see if you did it or not. You got your points. If you did, this is the last grade of the second quarter. This is announcing that, obviously. And then your bell work is the last bell work of the second quarter. So once I put that in, your grade is what it is. Delaney.
Can you help me with my bell?
I can help you.
All right, let's get out our notes. Delaney, if you want to, I'll help you after we get the notes done. Is that cool?
There you go.
I helped that now.
All right, looking at the slide that I have up, which is the last slide that we ended with yesterday, could someone share with us, obviously we still see grouping symbols, so we're going to use what property to get rid of the grouping symbols, or the parentheses? What property is it, Hannah? Yep, the distributive property. What are we actually distributing today? Abby?
-1.
Yeah. We did this with expressions. If you guys haven't noticed this, what we've done when we had expressions and we simplified expressions and we combined like terms, aren't we really just doing all those skills within an equation now? That's all we're doing. Okay? So you've done this with expressions, and you know a lot of you sometimes actually put the -1 and wrote it in, which you can. Does anybody know when you actually distribute or multiply a term by -1, what does it do? Dylan?
It just determines whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, but there's another way that maybe we could explain it. Anybody have another thought, maybe, to maybe chime in? Lainey?
It stays the same.
No, it does never. No, when you multiply something by -1, it changes.
Oh, sorry.
It changes.
I thought you said.
Ethan?
Well, it'll be the opposite. It's like an opposite machine where it changes the number.
Yeah, well, remember guys, when you multiply anything by -1, think about this. Remember I also told you that if you multiply like -1 times 3, okay, don't you have one negative here? Wouldn't it say negative? So 1 times 3 is 3. Look at what happens to 3 when you multiply it by -1. What happens?
Changes.
It just changes to its opposite. If you multiply -3 times -1, what happens to -3? Doesn't it go back to a +3? So really, what I used to do, and I think I maybe mentioned this when we did expressions, when I see a negative and I distribute it or I multiply a negative by any number, all I do is I say, what is the opposite? Because isn't that what the negative is going to do to 3x? It's going to change it to its opposite. So what's the opposite of 3x? -3x. And then what's the opposite of -12? +12. Because you guys agree that a negative times a negative is a positive, and 1 times 12 is going to stay 12, and then that equals 48. Go ahead and solve Fract. Go. I'm going to show you how to do the check. You want to try the check by yourself, you can. I'll show you how I would do it. Or if you don't care how I do it, you just stick to your method. Good luck. All right, so check-y-roo. All right. Again, where do I plug x in to check it? We talked about this yesterday. One person remembers that's not a good thought. Rachel? Well, x is here, x is here, x is here. Where do we plug it in? Darian? Back to the original. You know what I used to, how I remember this, because my teachers made me check too, you know. And I understand where you guys are coming from when you get frustrated with me when I make you do it. But in the long run, obviously checks, like I told you guys yesterday, it happened last hour where, you're starting to figure out when you do something wrong versus having to rely on me to find it for you. You find it for yourself. That's huge. That makes you a mathematical thinker, which is what I can't think. Can I think for you? Nor do you want me to. Just saying. Okay? So, when you check, guys, you have to make sure that you go back to what I used to think of is the typed equation. Like if you think of a textbook, like when I was in high school, I had a textbook. Aren't all the equations typed in there? Okay? If I give you a worksheet, aren't they? I go from the typed version, not my hand. If I handwrite it, that's not where I check. Okay, now obviously some of you take the original equation and rewrite this on your loose leaf. Well, make sure you go back to whatever the original looks like, okay? That's the only confusion there, all right? So, what I do is I leave my negative out here. I put my 3 here, and I'm going to put my negative 12 inside, and that all has to equal 48. And again, I see grouping symbols, guys, so all I'm going to do is focus in here. This negative out here has nothing to do with inside here at this point, okay? So we have to get this parentheses down to 1 term, okay? That's your goal. So the first thing you're going to do, I'm going to bring my negative down because I haven't used that yet. I'm just going to bring it straight down. And now I'm going to do whatever operation is first in gems. Inside the parentheses, what operation inside there do you see that we would do first? Hannah? So what's 3 times negative 12? Anybody? Negative 36. Good. Bringing my negative 12 down. That has to be negative 48. Now let's look inside. We still have 2 terms in here. Put those 2 terms together. I'm still going to bring my negative down. What's our new term inside? What's our new term inside? What do you put that? Negative 36 with a negative 12. What do you get? So quiet in here. Emma?
48.
Sure.
Oh, negative 48.
Thank you. Now look at what forms. Have you ever seen this before? Look up here.
It's
You ever seen that?
positive.
Anybody seen? Have you seen that before? What do you know about that situation? What do back-to-back negatives turn into? Huh? Hayden? Was your arm up? Didn't even see it. You have an invisible arm? You guys agree with him? That it's positive? Isn't that back-to-back? Isn't that the opposite of negative 48? Or really you're subtracting negative 48? So negative times a negative is a positive. So this turns actually to 48 is equal to, and yes, I see this.
Told you.
See this?
Tell you.
Sorry. There we go. Is that what you were talking? You point those things out. I do things wrong. That's good. Don't I point things out that you do wrong all the time? If you do something wrong?
I'm perfect, so she doesn't.
Okay, Dylan. Get to ourselves. We're down there. All right. We're a human. Everyone good? Everyone okay? You ready for fraction? Bring it on.
No. You taught us how to do the fraction anyways.
I did?
Yeah.
You did?
You multiply by the top one and then you divide by the
Oh,
yeah.
we're good?
Yeah.
All right.
So good.
All right, so let's do this. If you see a fraction and you're going to distribute a fraction, Malia, obviously you remember what I said. I'm not guaranteed that everyone in here heard what I said. Okay? So Malia, I'm glad you listened. It makes me feel special. Okay? So when you guys have a fraction, remember, Mrs. Alms, I think I've said this a lot, that a fraction is really a multiplication problem and a division problem all in one. I think I said that yesterday. So which part do you multiply by? Okay, you always start with the top. Numerator, you multiply by the numerator. So what I told the classes today, I said take the 1, multiply it by this term. What do you get? 4x. Okay, because 1 doesn't change anything, right? Identity property. And then we're going to take that, and then we're going to divide that term. You got 4x in your head, right? You have to write this down. Don't you have 4x in your head? You can if you want to for your notes, but I'm just saying, like on your papers, couldn't you do that in your head? Sure, you could. Now we're going to take that and divide it by 2. So it's half. If you have 4 x's there, you got to cut them in half. How many x's do you have left? 2x, yeah. Another thing is, what's half of 4x? It's 2x. Do you kind of find half of anything? It's the same thing. Okay? So now we're going to look at, let's do the same thing. Let's take and multiply 1 times negative 6. And if you notice, when we have a numerator of 1, does that multiplying by 1 change this term at all? No. So you're really just dividing by the denominator. So what's half of negative 6? Negative 3. Bring your 11 down. Okay? I think most of us, I think hopefully you guys, since I've already said something about this yesterday, this will refresh your memory, and then I think the check maybe is the part where we need to make sure that you understand how to check it as well, okay? So let's solve this. We're going to get rid of which term first? With a positive 3. And then now we have 2x is equal to 14. What operation are you going to get rid of next? Gates? Yeah, how do you get rid of multiplication, hon? Divide. What are we going to divide by? Hayden? Is that a visible arm again? What do you got over there? Like, he doesn't even have his, I mean, he's divide! He's never been so vocal. I like that, though. I like that. You're participating. But let's focus on, okay, you got participation, like, ramped up here in your brain. Now let's, like, see if the arms work. Okay, and then we can put it all together. It's a process. You know, some of us just have that problem. You know, the arms don't work and the mouth at the same time. You know, it's like, okay. Remember, Hayden, I told you, you're a guy, so you're not going to be able to multitask for a while. Sorry. It's a part. Hey, Dylan, keep your mouth shut. Hey, nothing. Hey, sit. Remember? Okay. You're getting there. Okay, you're working on it. Sorry, women, we're born with that talent.
A very nice thing to say.
Dylan, I'm not responding to you. All right, here we go. Now we're going to go back to the chat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this part over here so I have a little bit more room. Again, when I check the problem, guys, just like the negative, like on the previous slide, I keep that 1/2 out here. I'm going to just leave it here, okay? So I have 1/2. I'm going to rewrite what I have. I have 4, and then I have times our x, so I'm going to replace that with a parentheses. Everyone agree with that? That's where our x is, so put the parentheses in there. I'm going to put our 7 in there, and then I'm going to subtract 6, because that's -6, or subtract 6 has to equal 11. All right? Do you guys agree that this looks like our original type version of the equation? Good? Something else, man. All right, now, again, I'm going to bring my 1/2 down just like I brought my negative down, because anything outside the parentheses has nothing to do with what's inside at this point until we narrow down the operation that we have inside. So 4 times 7 is 28 minus 6 is 22. So let's put 22 inside, and that has to equal 11. Now, again, you can do the same thing that we did up here when we distributed a fraction. Okay? When you multiply a fraction by a whole number, you can multiply by the numerator. What's 1 times 22? 22. Divided by 2 is 11. Or you can ask yourself, what's half of 22? What's half of 22? It's still 11. So either way you want to think about it, it's still going to be 11. All right, let's go on to the next one, which is 2/3 versus 2/3 here. What are we going to multiply by?
6.
2. I'm really close to you. You know, my reaction is when you say something like that, just went up. You know, it's like my hand just has I have involuntary like twitches or something. You know.
Okay.
I can blame it. I can't blame it on anybody but my hand. It's a mind of its own. You know. What did you say? 6? Where'd you get 6?
6? No.
Oh, 2 times 6. Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you said 2, you said 6. It's kind of like tag team. You know, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to multiply the 2 here, and we're going to take that and multiply it by 6x. What is that? How many x's do we have? We double 6x. Hayden has his arm up. Everyone see it. You see that? Woo! It didn't take him more than a half an hour to figure it out. Awesome. See, you can learn something in a day. Hayden. You double 6x. How many x's you got? There you go. All right. Now we're going to take that 12x in our head, because you have it in your head, right?
I believe so.
And divide it by 3. So if you take that 12x and divide it in 3 equal groups, Kaylee, what do you got?
4x.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you mocking me?
No, I'm just getting pumped about math.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. All right. Get her done. All right. Now we're going to take 2, and we're going to multiply it by -9.
Sorry.
2 times -9. Gates? -18. Now we're going to take that and divide it by 3. What's our new constant? Dylan?
-6.
-6. Now remember, when you bring this term down, make sure it stays negative. A lot of you, when you bring things down, you just, I don't need the negative.
Negatives for noobs.
Okay? Well, Dylan, then you're going to get them all wrong. Sucks to be you.
All of them?
Well, if you forget signs, you're never going to get one right. If there's signs involved. That's if signs are involved. Thank you very much. Now from here, we can solve it. We got 4x's is equal to -28. What's our next step after? What are we going to do next? Renee?
Divide by 4.
We're going to divide by 4. And Rachel, what do we got? X is equal to what? You want somebody to go for it? Caught you off guard, didn't I? Sorry about that. All right, Jen, haven't heard from you yet today. What do you got?
-7.
Yeah. So, what if, can I ask you guys something? What if that 2/3 was a 3/5? What would you multiply by? Divide by? What if it was 3/7? What would you multiply by?
3.
Divide by?
7.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay? Remember, anytime you see a fraction, remember, just multiply by the numerator, divide by the denominator. And a lot of you probably could do that in your head. You never probably thought you could multiply by a fraction in your head. Isn't that nice that you know that you could do that if you broke it up into 2 sections, okay, or 2 chunks. Isn't that cool? When I first learned that, I was like, sweet, so much easier. Fractions are not as freaky as they, when I was younger. Like when I was a kid, fractions scared the crap out of me.
No kidding.
How do you have 2 numbers and 1 number? What number do you want to go with? Just go with 1, It's, you know what I mean? It's just like, woo. What do you got, a part from a hole? What? Part a hole? What?
Yes.
Who wants a... I take your hole with a part. What's up? 2 times 9 is 18. Divided by 3 is 6. And because that's negative, that stays negative. Okay? It's up here. It's right here. And then you divide it by 3. All right, let's check this puppy. Okay. So now, again, just like our 1/2, we're going to keep that 2/3 outside our parentheses, and don't worry about that until we get down to 1 number inside. We're going to take our 6, multiply it by our -7, subtract our 9. It has to keep at -34. So let's focus inside the parentheses. Again, bring your 2/3 down, because we're not even going to bother with that until we're done here. And when we have 6 times -7, which is
-42.
-42, so let's write that down. I'm not going to do this all in my head because I had lots of kids today decide that they're going to subtract, but if you notice, looking inside the parentheses, are we going to subtract those two?
No.
We're actually doing what?
Adding
Them. So how many negatives do we actually have, guys? Yeah, -51. So, you ready, Darian? We're going to do this again. I'm going to do that. I'm going to distribute a 2/3 to -51. Okay? You ready? Everyone ready? 2 times -51 is?
-102.
-102. Okay, so I'm going to write it off to the side so you guys can see. So that right here, this right here times this is the -102. Now we're going to take that -2 and what else do we have to do? Divide by 3. So it's -102 divided by 3. Well, cut that into thirds. Brooklyn? I sure hope so, because 3 goes into 10 how many times? 3 times. I'm going to carry the 1. You ever know if you can do this? I don't know if you have. Because you see how they're proper here? I do the division in my head like this. So 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Take that away. Carry the 1. 12 divided by 3 is what? 4. There you go. I do that all the time, especially because when you have the larger number here, I always hated to do it in the long division. Remember those long? Remember how you had to put it?
I work better with all division.
But you can. I'm not saying you don't want to, but I was not a fan of that. This was quicker for me. So, now, this is the scenario. This is what we're going to do. I planned on doing an activity that was going to be a quiz grade.
Oh.
Then last night I got home, I punched in the numbers, because at this time of the quarter, I'm going to be honest with you, a homework assignment, not going to change your grade. If you didn't do it, yeah, obviously, yes, it's going to change your grade. But for those people that are consistently doing their work, it's not really going to, it's going to take you up 1/10 of a percent.
Oh, seriously?
But if you don't do it, it's going to drop you about 0.5 to 0.8 of a percent, which can drop you from one grade to another.
Wow.
You see the significance in this? So, a quiz grade. Is it really going to benefit you for me to make this what I'm going to have you guys do in a minute for a quiz? It's not really going to impact your grade as much as I wanted it to. It's not going to really do anything for you. So, how is this assignment going to benefit you? And hopefully, this is what my mind is. Hopefully, it benefits you. It's actually going to be the first grade of the third quarter, and it's going to be a homework grade. Okay, it would not be a quiz grade. Now, this is how it's going to work. It's going to be 15 points. That's usually 3 assignments in here, because most of my assignments, if you look in your grade, is mostly 5s and 10s. I don't think there's 1 15, but we're going to make it 15 points. Okay, this is a color by number activity. Have you ever done color by numbers? Have you ever done those? All right. So what's nice about it is the answers are within the little design that you're coloring. But this is the kicker. Watch. Listen to this. Are you listening?
Yeah.
There's positive 21 inside the design and negative 21. What are you going to do? Uh-oh. Check. The thing is, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a suggestion. I'm going to hand this out. It comes in a packet stapled, but if you want to, you can obviously separate it if you want. All right. A lot of kids today decided that they wanted to do the work on a separate sheet of paper. And I did suggest that would probably be the best thing, because then inside the boxes, you know what they did? They transferred their answers back onto here, because then they can compare them. Because you can't have any duplicates, can you? No. Because if you get 2 negative 18s, you got to figure out which one's which. I also suggested do not color as you go. You color as you go. You color the positive 18, whatever color red. You get down to number 9. Uh-oh, it's also positive 18. And it's purple. Now you have a brown section. Because you had to color, you know what I mean? So what I suggest, this is just my opinion. Take it for advice. I would do all the problems and make sure I don't get any duplicates. Okay? You're going to check your problems as well. All right? I had somebody finish all 15 in checks today. I was like, sweet. This is due. This is your ticket out of my classroom tomorrow. Think about tomorrow. Do we have a POD?
No.
Do we have any homework to grade?
No.
Do I even have to speak to you?
No.
I will, though. I won't be rude. Okay? But, do you see my drift? You have a lot of time tomorrow. Now, somebody goes, I'm going to do all the problems. I'm going to check, make sure I don't have any, and I just come in and color them. I go, yeah. What a great Thursday. You're coloring in math class. Artsy-fartsy time. Whatever you want. You know? So, this is what I suggest. I want you to make sure you use some time, get it started today. Take it home. Get as much as you think is necessary that when you come back for 42 minutes, you're not scrambling to get it done and you have anxiety hit. I'm nervous. All right? And I have a bunch of crazy students in here. Okay? So, what I suggest, this is my opinion, is I would do all 15 problems. You know what I mean? And come back and color tomorrow and have an easy 8th hour. We turn the tunes on if that's the case. But if not everybody, listen to me, if not everybody's ready to color, I'm not turning the tunes on.
Oh, everyone do it.
Nobody do it.
Right?
You're so
Okay.
mean. I hate the tunes you play. Oh my god.
That's offensive.
rude.
Well, I'm glad I can send that to your parents.
Oh.
Maybe there's things in here that I don't like that you do.
So you win.
It's not so. I'm still recording, by the way. Be wise to what you say. I know you try to be funny, but sometimes the comments that come out of your mouth are not. But I don't see anybody laughing.
especially if you don't see me laugh, it wasn't funny. Well, you do the problem, whatever answer you get, you find it in a little color wheel here, okay, the little Aztec color thing, and color in with rubber you can see it up. All the 6s are gonna be the same. Yep, and then, some of these have more than one yellow or red. That's fine.
But think about this, starting the third quarter with a 15 out of 15 Brooklyn, that's a good cushion. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's like 300% to start the third quarter. I don't know about you, but that's, because it's basically all my assignments are 5, 5, 5, usually 5 points. So this is like 3 assignments more. Yeah, see ya. See ya. Do everyone have one? Everyone? I know, I'm coming around to get the rest of the